Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Foreman community demo for the 13th of July, 2017. 13th of July being our birthday. So happy birthday to our whole community. We are 8 years old today. This is absolutely fantastic. We've got a pretty packed show for you today. There's something like, I think, 50 minutes of content. So I'm not going to talk for very long. I was maybe going to do something fun for our birthday, but honestly, all the developers have just decided they want to show you lots of cool things for our birthday, which I think is even better. So I'm going to just roll right along. The usual things apply. If you want to be involved, please do. Hash the Foreman on Freenode or the YouTube live chat. I will be monitoring both of those. Do remember to up the quality default setting, make it much easier to see all that lovely text. And if you want to drop any comments our way afterwards, then obviously there's always Twitter and the mailing list as well. So moving on then, yes, it's our birthday. There are parties. If you are, sadly, there's only parties this year in Europe. I couldn't get much going in the US. But if you are in Belgium or Germany or you don't mind traveling, there are events in Antwerp on the 18th of July and the 27th of July, respectively. The events are on our calendar, so go check them out and do come along. It will be a lot of fun. Other news, because it's our birthday, we just obviously had to do something. So Daniel has put out the 1.15.2 release just, I think, about 2 hours ago. So if you want to join in the celebrations, you can at least do an upgrade and tell us how that went. So that's going to be fantastic. Normally I put a summary of what's in the show here, but it's just a huge list today. It just wouldn't fit on the slide at all. We've got core stuff, we've got dev stuff, we've got plugins. So just a quick thing about the birthday. I just wanted to say thank you guys. Obviously, I'm kind of the sort of the marketing cheerleader type person who runs around talking to people about the community, and I get to talk to a lot of people. And I know that there's a lot of love for Foreman. I know we still have our issues, but overall, as a community, this is one of the nicest, friendliest seasons. So thank you all for your participation, whatever that participation is. If you're just a user, if you're on the mailing list, if you're reporting bugs or testing release candidates or committing code or fixing documentation or sending translations or working on the installer and many, many other things that I probably have forgotten to list are massively important. And I personally thank you immensely for it, because I would have a very different job otherwise. So good. Just a quick one. I wanted to put some metrics in, but we really don't have time for much, so I just thought I'd quickly grab some Redmine metrics for you. We've closed nearly 500 features in the last year. I think that's astonishing. And okay, 2,000 odd bugs as well, but I think the features thing is the one I really want to point out. We've still got more to do since we've opened nearly 900, but 500 features, that's pretty awesome. And when I've got a bit of time, I'm going to go and look at that list and maybe pick up some highlights, and we'll do a little bit more of maybe I'll do a blog post on that. Again, that's all down to your contributions in large part, so thank you very much. So, oh no, that's a bad slide, shouldn't be there. So 1.15.2 is out. 15 bugs, I think Daniel was saying, fixed. The notable one is the fixedDB cache issue, which is preventing Foreman from starting in some cases. So if you're being hit by that, you've got yourself a fix. Go check it out. That's the bit.ly link. You can also find that obviously on our mailing lists and web pages and all sorts of various other ways to get to it as well. So I think that's enough talking from me. So we're going to kick off the first section, which is going to be core updates. So I'm going to start with Tomer, who's got a couple of updates. Tomer, are you there?
So I'll show my screen. Okay, so actually the first change that I'm going to show wasn't done by me. It was done by Ohad. So as you may know, usually when you run a dev machine, it's very slow. But when you type in a search, usually what happens if you run the search for some architecture, then what happens is that the page gets reloaded. So you click the search and the table gets replaced in place using turbolinks. So this is a nice small performance improvement, more nicer usability on part of the user. So you don't get that blank white screen while the page is loading the new results, just a little spinner. So the second nice improvement that Todd did with TurboLinks is that the dashboard reload also used to refresh the entire page. So now, if you have changed the refresh or just wait for it to refresh, again, the page doesn't refresh, just the content inside of it. So that's a couple of nice improvements with TurboLinks. Another thing, small feature that was added is in the latest warning or error task widget on the dashboard used to be that you couldn't tell if these error tasks are actually tasks that you already know about or if they're new tasks that errored. So now there's a new column showing you what time the task started. We can't show the end time since task could be paused, and then it doesn't have an end time, obviously. So we decided to go with the started time, which should at least give you a good indication of whether this is a new task that needs some attention or if it's some known error that you already know about and took care of. That's it for this part of, yeah, and I see that you've moved on to the next slide. And
yeah, I was just going to move back and just quickly show the slide and come back again. You know, I'm
yeah.
trying to be professional.
Yeah. So another change that that's new is not on the UI; it's in the API. As you may know, there's nice hosts API, and you can tell it how many hosts you want, how many results per page you want. For example, I have 58 development machine, and rendering that took just under 5 seconds. If you have a very large estate with thousands of hosts, this could take several minutes even to render. And the new change is just added the ability to get just a host list. You add another parameter to the query, thin equals true, send it, and then boom, within just a few hundred milliseconds, you get just a list of all the host IDs and names, and then you can use that, for example, to get scripting to run over all of those hosts, etc. It also works if you add a search for something, then it would be filtered. So that's kind of a nice improvement for those of you using the API for automation of a very large scale infrastructure. That's it for me.
Superb. I really, really like that fast host list. The number of times I've had to iterate over the host with Hammer or something just to get some work done. Really nice. But people ask them anyway, and if we've got time, we can always come back to them and pick out the best ones or make sure that things have got answered. So don't worry too much if it looks like I've skipped your question. It's not necessarily true. I just might be trying to gather them up. Okay, so we're going to move on, and we're going to talk with Tomasz with a couple of updates there, starting with Ansible roles.
Yes, hello. I've shared my editor, so hopefully you can see it.
Oh yeah, that should be fine. Remember, people update the quality on your YouTube videos. It'll help a lot with this kind of thing.
Yeah. So last sprint, we finally merged an important change, an important refactoring in our Ansible roles and playbooks that we use in Forklift. This pull request has been open since February, so it's a really long time. I would like to thank everybody who was involved in reviewing this, because the effort was enormous. It was a huge patch. So what actually happened? We refactored playbooks for Foreman, catalog, and provisioning, and we also added roles for installing plugins. So the whole change adds a lot of versatility, and I'll show that later. So I will quickly guide you through the changes, what happened. So this is the forklift repository. We used to have playbooks for Foreman and for Catalog. So as you can see now, there are only meta playbooks that call roles, and that's very important change. I will show you that in a minute how this can be used. So, and also we used to have role Foreman provisioning, or I'm sorry, catalog provisioning, that was moved into roles 2. And this installs catalog, setups libvirt, and does catalog provisioning. So now it's been all moved to roles. We have role Foreman, we have role catalog, and we have catalog and Foreman provisioning. If I look at catalog provisioning, where it is here, it includes Foreman provisioning. They depend on each other, so we don't duplicate the tasks there, and it adds some more setup on the top of it. The both roles work with libvirt, and then they create and pre-configure you in Foreman environment / catalog environment with some media, some synced content, and some host groups that you can use right away. I also mentioned that we added some roles for plugins. These roles can be used for installing a plugin on top of an existing system, and they also do some basic configurations. At the moment, we have Foreman Ansible, Discovery, Docker, OpenSCAP, remote execution, and templates. And I prepared a short example of how this can be used. The fact that we moved everything to roles allows us to create a customized playbooks with installations configured at your will. So here, if I select Foreman provisioning and add a couple of plugins, it will install me Foreman configured for provisioning with Ansible, Discovery, OpenSCAP, and remote execution. So this is the power of versatility here. That if I want to add some other plugin, just let's say templates, I just change it, and this can be configured as you want. So that's it. I'm not going to run the playbook because it will take a long time, and the results are quite obvious. So that was it from the first part.
Cool, thank you. That's pretty awesome. Getting an echo, so I'm just going to move straight on. So net groups.
Yes, I will just reshare a different window. So yeah, net groups. Last sprint, I worked on integration of NIST net groups with Foreman. So a net group is an alternative to standard POSIX groups for managing permissions. They are actually triples consisting of host, user, and domain. And my work added the support for mapping net groups to user groups in Foreman. We support FreeIPA and POSIX LDAP, so this can't be used with Active Directory at the moment. But those two mentioned should be okay. So what is the change actually about? In the Foreman, if I go to LDAP authentication, I got one outsource for FreeIPA, and the form here got one more checkbox. So if you want to use net groups, you need to check this and change the group-based DN. Otherwise, the implementation is quite seamless from the user's point of view. For FreeIPA, the base DN is common name ng, common name compat, and then DC IPA DC test. In this change, we also included slight improvement in the UI. There are new info tooltips giving you some example values of how you can configure it when you want standard groups or net groups. We added them also to other fields. What's nice here is that when you change the server type, the examples also change. So it's context sensitive. So I configured my free IPA outsource. Now I will show you the user group that I have prepared for that. I have a user group IPA. There are some users already. And this user group is connected to an external user group, sysadmins from that IPA. It has a customized viewer role assigned. So when I will authenticate as a new user from IPA that is in that net group, I should be automatically assigned to a customized viewer role, as you know it with standard external groups. So I will now log out. In the meantime, I will show you quickly net groups in my free IPA instance. I've got one net group called sysadmins that contains some users. Thomas and Bob has already been logged in Foreman. IPA Dalibor is still waiting for our demo. So I'll try that. I'm logged in and I already can see some content. So that means that I was assigned a role. I'll just quickly check it here. So I can see that I was assigned the IPA group, and I have a role customized viewer. So that's about this feature.
It looks like.
Louis, am I back? Sorry, my internet died there, but I think I'm back. Am I back?
Yep.
Someone want to talk to me? Marvelous. I can't tell until someone confirms it to me, right? So, yeah, sorry about that. My internet hiccup in the wilds of Scotland. It happens all the time, but most of the time you don't notice because it's while someone else is talking. So, next up then, so thank you, Tomasz. I don't see any questions just now, but I'll keep an eye out for it. Next up then, we have John, who's going to talk to us about proxy stuff.
Thanks, Greg. Let me share my screen here. Okay. So I'm going to talk about Catel backup, restore, and hostname change being added to a Foreman proxy. And this functionality has existed on the normal Catel server, but now it's been added to a Foreman proxy with content, I should specify. So that's a Foreman proxy that's installed on a Catel machine, and it has the content available through Pulp. The commands do take a while to go through, or to run. So I'm just going to kind of go through a little overview of them. Catello backup, that's just going to back up your config files. And in this case, it's going to back up the pulp database. And all the arguments are basically the same as the normal Catello server. One thing that has been added is this features argument. And you can pass in TFTP, DNS, DHCP, OpenSCAP, or all. This is going to back up the files for that feature or for all the features. And this actually is available on the Foreman. This is also available on the normal Catello server.
John, we aren't seeing your screen.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let me.
Thank you, Tom. I was literally about to jump in there as well.
I apologize. For some reason, I'm not able to get my terminal in here.
Are you on Wayland?
Yes, is that why?
That's why Wayland.
Yeah, that's why you can only show the same.
The whole screen sharing thing within browser technology is based on an exploit in X11.
Oh, okay.
So you can't screen share on Wayland. So.
I apologize for that.
Do you want to? Shall we move on? And do you want to maybe? I think if you restart as an X11 session and rejoin, you'll probably be able to screen share.
It's okay. I actually didn't have too much to show on the terminal, and I'm going to go through one thing in my browser here.
Oh, okay. Marvelous. Then.
So I will. Can you see this now?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. So basically, those commands, backup, restore, and hostname change, have been added to a Foreman proxy with content. The reason for this is users were asking for the functionality, despite being able to resync and get all your content back on a Foreman proxy. Some users have slow networks or infrastructure issues and don't want to resync everything, and they want to have a backup on hand that they can just restore. And they also want to have their configs backed up. But one interesting thing that this does allow us to do is to actually clone a proxy. So these are the rough steps to cloning a Foreman proxy with content. And Greg, I think I sent you this gist, so you might be able to send it out to everyone. But basically, you're going to run Catello backup on the existing Foreman proxy with content. And then you're going to do a fresh install of a EL7 box, set the hostname to the original Foreman proxy with content hostname, copy the backup over to the box, run. So you can either run Foreman proxy search generate on the main Catello server, or you can just copy over the original certs that you generated from the Catello server. I generally run the command again because it gives that nice output that you can just copy and paste over the Foreman installer command. And then you're going to want to double check DNS, or in my case, I just update etc host because it's just a local environment on the Catello server to point to the new cloned machine, because we are dealing with two machines that have the same host name. So we have to make sure we're pointing to the right one. Then you're going to do a normal Foreman proxy with content installation. So we basically have spun up another Foreman proxy with content with the same host name as our original one. And at that point, we can run Catello restore with the original backup on the blank proxy. And if you want to ensure that it's fully functional, you can resync it. It won't take as long because everything should be in pulp at that point. So this could be beneficial to users if they want to either have a backup proxy just hanging out in case something goes wrong, or they want to test upgrades or that kind of thing on a Foreman proxy. They can make a sort of clone of one. And with this, we're also investigating cloning a whole Catello environment. That's something I'm in the middle of kind of working through. And if I do, if I'm able to do that successfully and figure that whole thing out, I definitely will be sharing that with everyone. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Marvelous. And yes, you did indeed send me that, Jess, so I will put that in the show notes afterwards so that you can check that out. Okay, so moving on, we're going to have Sebastian next, also known as Bastilian. So he is going to tell us, oh, hang on, let's move on a slide. There we go. He's going to tell us the latest updates in the Docker plugin.
Okay. So, can you see my screen? Yeah, or?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, I just want to show you a few updates that are now out with the latest version 3.2.1. The first one is not going to be that obvious unless you craved for it for a while. It's that we now support the registry version 2 of the API. So you can also spin up the currently supported Docker Hub registry image and test with that. One thing that is going to be obvious if you're working with registries in your environment, test environment and development environment, if you're using SSL certificates that are self-signed, you're going to be offered an option to disable the check for verification, and so you can use insecure registries now. Another thing that has been improved with the update is creating a container, not necessarily the first step, but the second step. If you're looking for image, you now also get a nice autocomplete for that and feedback that the image is available or not. If we select another tag here that is not available and you disregard the warnings, you now also get a proper validation that will not allow you to create a container with a not available image. Overall, there are minor code improvements. It's much cleaner now, and that's it, actually.
Super. Fantastic. If you're a Docker user, go check it out. Fantastic. So I don't see any questions for you, so I'm going to move on to Lukasz, I think. Yeah, Lukasz, you there? Tell me about this new package you've been creating.
Yeah, okay. Hey, I just shared my screen, but it...
It's black.
It's black indeed, so let me just...
Also Wayland?
No, I don't use Wayland.
Okay, fair enough. I do get that. We do get that from time to time. Just try resharing it, see if it'll come back.
Can you see my screen now?
Not yet. I've still got your profile picture at the moment. Hang on.
No.
It might just be my end. Is anyone else seeing Lukasz's screen?
No.
No, okay.
No, I don't see it.
Okay, then carry on. And
okay, we'll come back to you and we'll figure out what's going on there. That's okay. These things happen. All right, so moving past Lukasz then, Daniel, why don't you tell us about some of the new dev things that are going on?
Okay, so I hope you can see my screen now.
Yours does indeed work.
All right, it's just a...
yeah, I made that a bit bigger, yeah. I mean, I know we tell people to up the quality, but as big as you can get away with is always good.
Okay, so first thing I was going to talk about is that pull request was merged recently about adding support so that you can put code in your plugins, JavaScript code in your plugins, and that code would be added to your webpack bundle. So you're able to basically reuse Foreman components in your plugins. And also you can write your own components in the plugin itself. So here, just to keep it simple, I just took the example that Ohad put in the blog post, sorry, in the pull request. It just, what we have here is basically HTML page, which I have in the Foreman Ansible plugin. All that it does is to include a JavaScript tag that is called this Ansible core.js. And then this is going to take the content of Foreman Ansible webpack index.js and put this into put that JavaScript into our page. What this JavaScript code is doing is pretty dumb. It just picks a div and puts a React component named OK, which is just the OK checkbox. And it's taking this React component from Foreman. So Ohad wrote an alias on the webpack config file so that you can use, if you want to import any webpack component, sorry, any React component from Foreman, you just have to put Foreman React and then the path to the component. So that would be on Foreman itself, it would be webpack React app. Oops. Yeah, assets, React app. Damn it. Assets, JavaScript, React app, then yeah. Common, and then the component. So just so you can see in a moment how it looks like, let me share the browser then. Okay. So here's the browser. I have the create host page. And I had the host Ansible parameters as the div that I was saying before, and it's been substituted properly by the component. So that's all that it does, and I think it's pretty useful because it allows us to do smarter things. Like actually, what I was doing was to start dynamically filling the list of role parameters from the smart proxy in the Foreman Ansible plugin using React components, which in the past I would not have been able to do easily, and using jQuery for this would have probably been very difficult. There's one limitation, well, a few limitations that we have, like running tests on the components from plugins. We have not really defined how to do this yet. And another one, which I think is the biggest one, is that the plugins are limited to use any JavaScript dependencies that are available in Foreman itself. So in Foreman, you have a package.json at the root, and that's where you put your dependencies, your JavaScript dependencies. And we have not figured out how to do this yet. So patches are welcome. If I need some dependency for this feature, I'll probably do it myself. But okay, so that's one thing. And the other thing I could spend a couple of minutes talking about is, well, first, thanks to especially Dominic Cleo, who wrote most of the work to update our app to Rails 5. And then Michael picked up the pull request and updated it to include all the changes that were needed to merge with develop. We are able to run Rails 5, but it doesn't run by default, or it doesn't run by default in all situations. What is important to do is, if you are a developer, you should go to the settings.yaml file. Okay. Here. Yeah. So you should go to your settings.yaml file and change the Rails version here. Rails 5 is only available on 2.2.2 plus. So what we're going to do is only put it on Ruby 2.3 minimum. For the moment, Rails 4.2 is tested in Jenkins. So Rails 5 is not really tested. The problem that we have is that, I mean, we could be committing things that break compatibility right now. So the more developers that work on Rails 5 as of now would be the better, because it would not. I mean, if you're developing on Rails 5, you know for sure that whatever you're committing works. Another thing, 2 plugins. I've only seen 2 plugins that completely failed to boot with Rails 5, which are Catello and Remote Execution. I took a little bit of time, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, to fix Catello, but couldn't really get anywhere. I found that it's probably something similar to this that we have to do in Catello. Not sure about Remote Execution, but if you're using any of these 2 plugins, and if you're developing any of these 2 plugins, please try to make it Rails 5 compatible. Because the plan is that after 1.16 is branched, 1.16, sorry, it's going to be 4.2, because tomorrow is supposed to be branching day. So for 1.17, we should have Rails 5.0 or 5.1. And if tomorrow is branching day, we should probably be testing that all our plugins start to work and develop with Rails 5. Well, that's basically it. Any questions about Webpack or Rails?
Not at the moment, although I will echo your sentiment about thanking Dominic and Michael for their work on this, because it was huge. So, but right now, no questions. Do test that out, people. Try it out, see what's broken. We do need to keep modern. I remember how long it took us to get to Rails 4, and I don't really want to see that happen again. So, and Rails 3 as well. Wow, that's going back a bit. So, okay, no questions just now, though. So, moving on, I'm going to try Lukasz again and see if he's good now.
Yeah, you should see my terminal.
We do.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. This is my first hangout with my new AMD Ryzen workstation. I'm using, obviously, AMD graphics card, and doesn't work. I had to turn off my second monitor, and now it works. I can only screen my main monitor. Anyway, this package thing. Foreman 114 and 115, not sure about 113, but we shipped the UFI support. That's the new Pixie loader flag there. But our installer, what it does is it installs you grub. We support grub 1, grub 2, and Pixie Linux currently, and it installs you grub from the distribution you are running on. So if you're installing a smart proxy on, right, let's say Rails 7 or Debian 8, it will install grub 2. But in case you want to use grub 1 to install, let's say, some kind of a legacy distribution, that would be, for example, older Debian or Rails 6, you need to use grub 1. But you can't easily get it, because the process is pretty much complex. You need to download the distribution package. So in case of Red Hat, if you want to extract a Red Hat bootloader, that would be grub2-EFI. You need to download and find the correct architecture and version, and then extract the RPM, and then get the EFI file and put it onto your TFTP server. Now, this is bad user experience, and since our environment is restricted, our installer shouldn't be downloading some random files from unknown sources. We've decided to create a package, and I've made a proposal on January this year, and now it's alive. It's in our develop repos. It's called Foreman-bootloaders-Red Hat, and if you search for that, Foreman bootloaders, there's a GitHub with a README and explanation. But roughly speaking, basically what we are trying to do is we're trying to extract binaries from all supported architectures from a particular distribution. So our first package available is dash Red Hat, which is extracted obviously from Red Hat as well as Linux, and that supports some Intels. We have PowerPC, we have ARM64, and if you install this package, as I've said, this is available in YAM repositories. You end up with user share Foreman bootloaders dash Red Hat directory, all the bootloaders you want to use. And now, of course, we don't currently have bootloaders extracted from Debian or Ubuntu. There are several reasons for that, but the two major reasons are UEFI secure boot support. There was no secure boot support until Debian 9. Ubuntu had some limited secure boot support, but you had to download an extra firmware from their HTTP site. And second, and this is more important, Red Hat carries some patches we rely on for grub1, which allows loading of grub configurations from file names named after MAC addresses, and this is missing from upstream. Debian ships upstream, and it's missing this patch, so it won't work actually with Foreman. So it was a good idea to start with Red Hat, and contributions are welcome if you want to provide bootloaders from Ubuntu or Debian. You will accept that, but it's not our primary goal. Please don't be fooled. You can use Foreman bootloaders Red Hat on Debian system or on Ubuntu if you're using that, or if you're installing Debian or Ubuntu and any other distributions. It's just loader that will chain load eventually into the will load any other kernel that is not Red Hat. So don't be fooled. You can use and install this. Michael Moll is working on a Foreman bootloaders Red Hat package for Debian. I'm not sure if that was already done or not, but it's on his to-do, and so this package will be available as well there. Now, we want to use, this is all about user experience and making installation easier. So there's one more thing. There's a sub package called tftp boot, and it's a meta package, and if you install that, it will basically make copies of these user share directory into the varlib tftp boot. These are actually hard links, but doesn't matter. So all you need to remember, if you want to, and I'm closing up, if you want to switch from one pixel loader to the other, or if you're using a different architecture because your proxy is running, let's say, Intel 64-bit, and you want to PXE boot other architectures like PowerPC, this PXE loader flag, the feature enabled actually boot, PXE booting. It's not PXE, it's called the boot P, but anyway, the workflow is very same. Loading over network of PowerPC. You need to those firmware, those loaders. So all you need to remember, install this package. It's in the develop branch. It will be in 1.16 -tftp boot, and you're done. This is the only action you need to take. We're changing. I'm not sure if I make it into the 1.16, but the installer will not anymore. Currently, we were generating the grub x64 EFI using grub mk image command using a Puppet installer, and the next step would be, of course, to drop that and just install our package, and that would give you all the images. So we're changing that. 1.16 will maybe come out without this, so it will only contain the grub 64 EFI created by MK image, and you can of course install this package that will override this. It will work, but for the future we want to make sure that installer installs this package, and that's it.
Superb, thank you. So yeah, I mean, Daniel just makes a really good point that these are also available on downloads.theforeman.org/Foreman bootloaders, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to get them from source, in quotes, then you can get them direct from our download servers. But yeah, this is awesome. I've been playing around with running the installer on ARM-based servers, and of course the TFTP stuff fails completely to compile on ARM-based servers because all of the architectures are wrong, and it's trying to install x64 stuff. So it'd be very nice to simplify the installer, certainly. Okay, so that's really cool. So you've also got another thing for us on Discovery, I think.
Yep. One last note. A couple of questions appeared on the list recently that why we are not shipping Pixie Linux EFI. Pixie Linux does support EFI or Unify if you want, but it's only in the development Git version. They haven't make any release yet, so I haven't tested myself. We have reports it works. So if you want, you can build Pixie Linux from scratch and deploy the pixielinux.efi yourself, and it should work. We have the drop-down option in Foreman. So now let me sign off this server, and so this is. There's a script called discover host I wrote, and it, with the increased amount of discovery developers, which I really like, this script was floating around as a gist, and it makes basically it discovers a fake host. It's very handy if you working with discovery, if you're developing discovery Foreman plugin. And now I've made it unofficial, so there's a pull request pending. I know we should be presenting something that's already merged, but this is pending merge, and there's a new script in extra. It's called discover host, and it's a proper script with some options, and basically it does the very same thing. So you can basically, if you run it without any parameters, it will discover you a fake host. This is the list of facts that has been sent to the Foreman. You can also provide a base JSON file, and we have a couple of very nice JSON files. I've asked on the list for some JSON outputs, factor outputs from big beastie servers. So for example, we have this wonderful. I can't really. This is I think 1,200 disks array. So you can basically, if you don't provide it, it's a default, which is simple. So I could provide a SUSE. We have a simple VMware JSON from SUSE, running on a VMware and SUSE, and then I can also specify interfaces, which is very useful. So I can specify something like 80H0 will be on network. This is it only supports C networks, so it's C network. Ending 122.0, and I can repeat another one. Let's say I want 99, and I can also say the primary interface will be 80H, and the boot interface, that's the boot IF option, would be the same, and you can also provide organizational location. And so yeah, this is a small tiny script that will be hopefully merged, and you can easily discover your hosts and make another round of nice patches into discovery. Thanks for it. I really love it. And that's it.
That's really cool. We just need more of these little helpers, right? It's really useful when you're working on certain features, particularly around the API. So that's really cool. Thank you very much for that. So I don't just see any questions there. So I'm going to move on to our last presenter, who's been patiently waiting. So we're going to have Shim, who's going to talk to us. I'll get forward. There it is. Sorry, too many slides. I've been jumping around. So Shim, you've been working on changing how we render the host info, right?
Yeah, basically I've added some support for plugins to actually be able to plug into the host info, but I wanted to start from a small explanation what host info is and where we can find it. So first, here you can see my fake host screen. If you press the YAML button, you will get to this kind of output. Actually, it's a summary of everything that Foreman knows about your host, including the parameters, which is kind of nice to know about. So here we can see the subnets that are defined by Foreman. We can see the owner and whatever. We can also see the global parameters that are set on variables that are set on this host. Also, we can see the classes, the Puppet classes that are assigned to this host, including the variable values that are set by Foreman. Host info. This information is also available through host.info inside our code. I don't want to jump too much between screens, so you have to believe me that it's there. So until now, the info was a monolith inside host object, which was not that great. And now that I wanted to start working on separating Puppet out of the core, I had to actually create some kind of framework to do it in a more pluggable way. So it ended up to this code. And the entry point is from our plugin method. So when you are defining your plugin, you can also call register info provider and set your info provider class right here. So this will enable you to add any information you want to the host.info output. You can see the default providers are defined in host info extensions. You can see that we are using a static info provider, config groups provider, and a Puppet info provider. Each provider looks pretty simple. Info provider class has to inherit host info provider, which is a base class that is defined in core, and it has to define a host info method. The method should return a hash that will be shown in the output. The hash will be actually merged into the output of the info method. So in this case, we are getting config groups, and we are setting inside the parameters key, we are setting another key, which is called Foreman config groups, with the config groups inside it. For more interesting stuff that can be done with it, let's look at a Puppet info provider. It does a little more than config groups provider. Again, the same thing. Inherit from provider and the host info method. Here you can see the classes, root node and environment root node that you have already seen, and the parameters, which is the main node that you have seen, which has all of the output there. So in here you can see that we are setting the environment, and we are setting the parameters from the host. It gets from Puppet static info, which is defined lower here in the code. So this is it about host info and host info providers.
Cool. That's really awesome. My brain is already thinking up ways to use this, because I can see that being really helpful for third-party integrations. For pulling data out that talking to rack management systems or networking systems or whatever to have a single source of truth in Foreman and then use that. Because obviously we pull Puppet is the main thing that uses that API, but anything can query the node info and ask for it, right? So yeah, I can see that being very useful indeed. Small, simple to write plugins that easily put that all together, that you can use it in many ways. It saves people having to write their own API endpoints potentially, which could be difficult for people who are not used to developing Foreman plugins.
The only thing that I have to warn, it pulls a lot of data across the all of other components in Foreman, especially when when we are using plugins. Absolutely. It could be slow.
It's going to be slow, but there's two benefits, I think. And the first one is, as I said, for people who are unused perhaps to writing Foreman plugins or writing APIs, it gives them something they can start with easily. That's the big win, I think, because you can always rewrite it later. If your plugin works, you can do a proof of concept using host info and then go and write an actual proper API later that is lighter and quicker. And the other thing is, you're usually not querying it very often. Unless you've got tens of thousands of hosts, it's usually not a big deal. But yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to have a look, see any questions, but I don't see any just now. I think we are done, basically. So thanks very much to all the presenters today. I wish we had more time to do birthday stuff. I might try and organize something like that. But sadly, 2 events in one day is probably a bit much. Sadly, a lot of the people I'd probably want to get on panel discussions and things are either traveling or simply busy today. So unfortunate timing. But nonetheless, it is our birthday, so go and drink a beer or your beverage of choice in our honor. And thank you very much for being part of the community. And thank you all for tuning in today. Or if you're watching this later, then have a post-birthday drink. That'd be much better. So this has been another Foreman community demo. You know where to find us if you want to watch more of this kind of thing. And for now, do take care.